Alright, ladies and gentlemen, just starting off this video. Welcome back to the YouTube channel Brotherhood Nation Entertainment with me, your boy the man NJ, number 2 the city with the number 2 in TO. Let's get into this. Let's go. Now, I definitely have various topics to talk about, but definitely will not get to them in this video particularly. This video particularly has everything to do with making money off of music and my journey when it comes to that. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm 20 years old. I've been making music, for years now. I started off most definitely to go back, a decade pretty much, because I'm 20 years old and a decade is 10 years. So to go back a decade or a decade and almost a decade and a half, I started making music, or I started taking a huge interest in it, or a little bit of interest in it, back in elementary school. I do believe back in either San Pablo Elementary or Kernan Elementary, or is it Kernan Trail Elementary? They call it a trail because it's got that trail right in the back of Kernan Middle, which leads you to the elementary school. I ain't been back there in years, but still, all glory be to God. Either way, I hopefully will go back there one of these days for concert, or to meet some of my old teachers and etc., or just to see how the building was doing. Cause I still got a vivid memory of it in my mind, but again, I ain't been back there in years, and etc. But you get the point. So yeah, Kernan Trail Elementary, San Pablo Elementary over there, right across the street from Fletcher High School, Fletcher Middle School. That's one of those are two, San Pablo and Kernan are two elementary schools that I went to. I went to Kernan Trail Elementary for 2nd and 3rd grade, and then San Pablo Elementary for 4th and 5th. Then after that, I ended up going to UC, University Christian Academy, and then after that, I went over to Kernan Middle for all 3 years. Because again, you can literally, I think, go back in my Twitter account. I was very honest with this about my history, or my schooling history, is that yes, I did fail 6th grade the first time. And God bless UC Christian Academy, because it wasn't on them that I failed 6th grade the first time. It was completely 100% on me. I just was not disciplined enough, and overall it went where it did. But again, all glory be to God, all blessings to them. They're still overall beautiful, great, fantastic, honor roll, IB, so many good names, so many good words I can use to describe UC, University Christian. And I really wish everybody there, past, present, and future, the absolute best in building their godly Jesus Christ salvation legacy with, everybody as fruitful and honorably as they possibly can. So God bless UC Christian Academy. But I went there, failed the first year, 6th grade. Then I went over to Kernan Middle over there on Kernan in Jacksonville, right by the neighborhoods of like Walden Chase. Actually, not Walden Chase. Walden Chase is over here, Ponte Vedra. Like in neighborhoods such as the new neighborhood that they got right over there is called Red Hawk. Now, that's the one they got built right next door to the school. So you got that neighborhood, and then you also have neighborhoods such as the one that I grew up in, Kensington, and the one right across from that is Winfield Lakes, and you got a Timberwood Trace and Pinewood Trace, I think, as well, something like that. And then you got that big super Walmart and etc. So I mean, it's been an overall blessed life. I'm not saying that I haven't had my struggles, my difficulties, my etc. My moods, etc. But definitely it's been overall blessing to the 20-year young life of mine and etc. But to get into it, it's just the fact being that I took an interest in music, making music, or really writing music specifically. I took an interest in that in late elementary school, and it kind of carried on in middle school, most definitely, because in middle school I was definitely writing raps heavily. I definitely morally got that started morally back in it was either 7th grade or 8th grade. I think it was 7th grade I morally got as heavy interested in it as I was. And I remember to myself being in one of my classes, I believe it was social studies class, and what ended up happening was I thought I had a kind of, you could say, a random epiphany or something like that, to think to myself, I write so much. What about recording? I write more than I record. So then I ended up downloading the app called Smooth, which is still very popular to this day. And I ended up, you can go back, go back in my Twitter archives, and you can definitely see that I was posting some music from back then, honestly. And but like I said, I moved on from that over time, and then I got on GarageBand. Now my GarageBand journey has been very, very shaky and rocky. It wasn't until I discovered those loops that I actually started getting somewhat good and or better at producing the music that I produce to this day. Now, it definitely happened somewhere within the last year or two. I got really good and or just really better than I had before at mixing those loops together and ended up creating some really good songs out of them. Like Lily, I have made some pretty good songs, especially to the kids will definitely, tell you like some pretty good songs. Not saying everything I've created off GarageBand, just like not everything I created off Small was absolutely, mind blowing. But it's been good enough to where again a lot of kids love it and they love it and they love it for good reason, and etc. It's not just we like it because it's NJ's music. Like no, we like it because he does have a good vibe, a good melody, a good rhythm, good lyrics and etc. to it. So I've made some pretty good songs. But to let everybody know, when it comes to making music, making money off my music, I haven't fully made a ton. I haven't even made over $50 if I'm not mistaken, but I've made a couple dollars here and there, but I haven't made over 50, and at least over the last year, I realized that, God bless everybody, who did buy my music, and God bless everybody who I asked to buy my music. But the thing I think I kind of realized very quickly was the fact being that, whether you had a job or not, most people couldn't afford to spend that $5, on my records, honestly, and not because they didn't want to, they wanted to, but they just couldn't afford it because they had just other things to spend it on, like their own food and etc. So things definitely went its ways with that. And trust me, God knows I asked a lot of people definitely within the last 2 years to, hey, I'm will you buy my record? So I definitely learned a little bit of the businessman acumen or something like that when it comes to burning my I was selling the Viewpoints Part 1 album, if anybody again is familiar with that off this YouTube channel. Sorry for my stuttering, by the way. But I was selling the Viewpoints Part 1 album, and that's I had burned that onto a CD, onto multiple CDs, and the software I was using to burn it off was my old MacBook OS Snow Leopard 08. So that quality was very cringy, honestly. It was very cringy. But at the same time, I mean, I'm thankful to God, for the overall production that did come out of it. And I'm thankful to God that people, because again, to tell you God honest truth, I wanted to sell it for $10. I mean, 5 versus 10 makes a big difference. Trust me, especially if 3 people were to buy it, that's $30 right there, versus 15. So trust me, I really wanted to go ahead and charge 10, but I think if I would have charged 10, I would have never made anything off of it, honestly, to a certain degree. I mean, God bless my good friend Lily, who, still waiting on a pre-order for one of my, whenever I get that to her, because God, honestly, she definitely supported me last year with it. She gave me $10 for the Viewpoints Part 1 and a pre-order. So I very much thank her for that. And like I said, I grind. I did a grind. I hustled last year, to try to get some of these records sold and try to become, if not completely successful with it, at least marginally enough, to where it's like, hey, I'm not on iTunes, but I'm still getting paid something, to hold me over, something, So I definitely did a grind. I tried to hustle with it. I definitely, did my job with it. And God first knows on how that overall went with me, I mean, like I said, there's a document to come up. One of the top things I want y'all to realize, regardless of the records on SoundCloud, YouTube, etc., Smooth, there is a document to come up with me. Not to say all those records are good enough quality, but there's a document to come up. Just like with NF and his, if you go look up his full name, Nathan Firestein, on Apple Music, you'll see his Moments album. I think it was Moments album. I listened to one song off of it, and I can assure you that if you listen to that song or that album, at least it was Until I Die. And if you listen to that song versus his new music of his NFEP and his Mansion album and everything else, if you listen to that, if you compare and contrast, you can definitely tell, especially with the vocal sound quality, there's a vast difference. Like those records sound, the Moment album, those records sound like they were recorded off of my iPad, honestly, which is where I record all my music from. God, honestly, and it's all done on my iPad. I record it, I mix it, and I ship it out there. That's literally how it is for me, honestly. I've been doing it for years, and I made some pretty good songs off of that. And one of the top things, I guess, to explore there with everybody, again, not to diss NF whatsoever. It's not dissing them. It's just from my personal opinion, from what I heard off of that Until I Die song, because if you listen to his intro one song, that was the album he was talking about, like, oh, to keep it 100, my music was terrible, but then, got better as over time as I was making more records. And if you were to ask me, Until I Die wasn't bad. It was good, but it definitely wasn't the same quality as, his newer music. It definitely wasn't the same quality. 2010 versus 2014, or versus 2015, it wasn't the same quality. You can definitely tell it was not the same quality, and etc. So I don't know where he was back in 2013 because I didn't hear about him until the Madden game. So God bless them putting him on Madden 16 because I did not know who NF was until Madden 16. And when I heard about who he was, I'm like, when I heard that, the intro song went hard. That intro song went hard off of Madden. I'm not that again. You want to listen? Anybody who have not listened to NF, go listen to all his music, but specifically the intro song, intro one. That song went hard. And I don't know how many times I listened to it before I finally thought to myself, let me look up this song. Let me look up who he is. And he's making some pretty good music, y'all. Pretty good music. All glory be to God with that. But I'm saying that if you were to ask me to compare and contrast, his and if NF or any other NF fans ever listen to this, when I say that, to my own personal opinion, listening to that one song off of Moments, it was good, but the quality definitely sounded like it was recorded off my iPad. Because I've recorded some good and some bad songs off my iPad. And I mean in terms of vocal quality. I've recorded some pretty good ones and I've recorded some pretty bad ones. But, for the ones that are pretty bad, some of y'all probably like, no, his quality didn't sound even near that bad, Nate. But, again, that's just my personal opinion. I still like the song, and I still wish him the overall best. I listen to his music, and the two rappers I listen to the most these days for the last few months has been him and Drake. Those are the two rappers that I listen to the most these days is him and Drake. Other than that, I'm listening to a bunch of alternative and some electronic. Electronic, Don Richard, alternative, Rain, Ruel, Banks, and somebody else, but those are the only ones I can name specifically right now. And yeah, that's how it goes for me. And God honest, that's 100 with how it is for me right now. But like I said, there's a document to come up. One of the top things I want everybody to realize with me, there's a document to come up, and that's what Moments. Listening to that one song off of Moments, it had me thinking about the document to come up. Like even though it wasn't of quality back then, or it was of quality, at least to me, that song was of quality, but it wasn't of as much quality as you obviously hear from his 2014, 15, 16, 17 records. Obviously, it wasn't the same quality, and that's pretty much what I'm trying to make out there, is that either way, there's a document to come up with his Moments album, from his Moments album to his, I think 2014, 2015, I think 2014 EP NF, and then 2015, 2016, there's a document to come up, and you got to pay attention to that. There's a document to come up. And one of the times I want everybody to realize, to me, there's a document to come up, honestly. Again, not saying all the records are, good, because some of them are completely trash. And I mean trash in vocal quality and flows. Some of my flows over the years have been trash. Some of them are still trash, but some of them are quite good. Like, again, nobody listened to the song yet, but go listen to Imagination at Work. That was good. Adopted Each Other. Me and my dear little sister named Ellie Di Patre. Well, that's how I pronounce her name, Di Patre, but you really pronounce it Di Patre, I believe so. So again, I'll make another video or more videos discussing this. This is like a document to come up I'm gonna say document to come up video part 1. But yeah, because I'm just saying that's the thing that Moments by NF got me thinking about, was documented come ups, honestly. It wasn't as quality as 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, but it was a documented come up though. It still sounded good, just wasn't of the same quality. Just like somewhat with me and my music from this year, go back 2-3 years, you know, it's not the same quality with some of these records. It's not the same quality. Sometimes I'm really up and down over the last 2 or 3 years with my quality of records. Sometimes I'll put out 2-3 records that sound completely fire, and then I'll put out whatever records that sound like, what is he doing here? So again, I'll make more videos coming soon. Thank you. God bless everybody. Take care. God first, one was God first, God of everything. Peace.